To my explainer tonight. Now, the story we aired of patients being detained after seeking treatment brought to light the issue of patients' rights. Now, the story already established the various court cases that have ruled against similar situations in the past, stating how this is a clear violation of the fundamental rights of the individuals. But that story, Healed and Detained, also provides us an opportunity to understand patients' rights in general. So when seeking healthcare services at any institution and from any healthcare professional, just what are your rights? Now, these have been captured in the Kenya National Patients' Rights Charter that was put together by the Ministry of Health, as you can see from this document, in 2013. Now, let me highlight just a few of them for you. Now, it states that every patient has the right to access healthcare, including promotive, preventive, curative, reproductive, rehabilitative, and palliative care. And you also have this, the right to the highest attainable quality of healthcare services, products. Indeed, this is what is enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya in Article 43. Now, in the case of an emergency, and I know you've seen these stories before and experienced it perhaps, it states that every patient has the right to receive emergency treatment in any health facility, irrespective of the patient's ability to pay. The treatment, of course, being primarily to stabilize the patient. Okay? Now, with respect to health insurance schemes or policies, this is also a tricky one. The Charter states that anyone who is enjoying the provisions of medical cover, or what we can also call medical insurance, are entitled to know all privileges accorded to them under the scheme. And you also have the right to challenge the contents of the scheme and the decisions that are made by the insurer on your behalf. Now, as a patient, or as they're now called, clients, you also have this, the right to refuse treatment. But there are a few conditions here. The first one is that you must be conscious and competent enough to make this decision, and that refusal must be documented in writing by the medical service provider. Secondly, it must be done in the presence of an independent witness. But here's the most important rider to this right. That refusal should not create an immediate danger to yourself or the health of others around you. Now, the right to information is also an important one. Now, as a patient, you have the right to full and accurate information in a language that you understand about the nature of your illness and the treatment procedures and options that are available to you to enable you make an informed decision. Except, of course, in cases of emergency and when the patient, that is you, may not be conscious at the time. Now, as a patient, you also have the right to access and obtain information regarding your health. So don't be afraid to ask as many questions as you need to understand the status of your health and the level of care that you are receiving. Now, here's the most important of all with this specific right. All this information should be kept confidential, except if you give consent or if the disclosure is allowed by law or deemed to be in public interest. Now, in line with this, you also have a right to seek a second medical opinion. Remember, we said you can ask as many questions? So, you have the right to also complain about the services that you're receiving to the relevant authorities. And the authorities equally have the responsibility to investigate the matter and give you a response within a reasonable time, which the Rights Charter states should not be more than 12 months. If there is a delay, you are supposed to be informed of the reasons of that delay. Now, as you know, all rights come with responsibilities, and the Charter clearly spells them out. Now, here they are. You should do everything possible to keep yourself and your children or those under your guardianship in good health. You also have the responsibility to keep your scheduled appointments with your healthcare professionals and to follow any instructions that are given to you by your healthcare provider and not abuse or misuse any prescribed medication or treatment procedures. Finally, you also have the responsibility to inquire about the costs of treatment and rehabilitation and to make appropriate arrangements for payment. Now you know. That's my explainer tonight.